Right, so basically the problem is students aren't prepared for industry after graduation. That happened to me too. I graduated like 25 years ago now. I'm getting old, but I got a first class honours degree. Then I went on and done a master's. I got a distinction at that, the highest in my cohort. I couldn't get a job. But it turned out that my portfolio was all academia. There was nothing there which sort of showing industry live projects or experience. So I had to work for like nearly 6 months for nothing to prove I could actually do what I needed to do. So that's when the idea of Pebble came in. So it's not something which was only thought about a few years ago. It's been on my mind now for a long time. And a few years ago, we got the funds to start building the application for it. Okay, so that's the initial problem. And then there was other problems from that too. When I started teaching, I'm teaching now over 20 years. And I'm actually built Pebble to solve my own problems within the classroom environment. And this is the easiest teaching I've had now in 20 years this year, because I've been using my own application to streamline all of these processes. So there's a lack of practical experience which students get from going through education, and industry engagement's very inconsistent. Staff like myself over the years sometimes struggle to source live projects. Sometimes admin or people from your curriculum management would contact you and go, could you work for such and such? Can your students do this or that? But you don't know any of these people. And sometimes those projects were really bad and bad for the students, and people were looking for cheap labour. So there was no sort of layer of safety layer. You just had to sort of almost feel obliged to take on projects just because people above you were asking you to do them. So institutions also need better data for inspections and strategy. So that was the main problems found at the start. So that's why we developed Pebble, to bridge that gap between business and education, enhancing education and then prospects for the students. So what we actually do is we formalise the process of industry and community, working with students, and we actually match students as well, match these projects like a dating app. The external contact, like whoever it is, would meet the students and actually critique the work, give feedback, and the students developing it along the way. And that's largely where the student starts learning all of their soft skills, especially confidence. So it's a new scalable SAS, software as a service, educational tech product. That's what it is, matches students with real projects. So we transform real world projects into measurable power skills. We can just talk about that a wee bit in a few slides time. Innovate the curriculum and improve student employability. The big one here is reducing risk through formalised external engagement and safeguarding. And we also demonstrate social value. And it really does meet the quality compliance standards for the college, for ETI inspections, QAA, matrix, so on and so forth. I can show you a wee bit of the background database, dashboard insights now in a wee minute too. Pebble supports 3 types of projects. External projects connect students with real industry or community partners, where they can gain experience, get paid, and develop the soft skills employers value most.
Target audience was Tyrone Tennis Club. What they wanted was a website to act as a base of operations. They all to be able to convey dates, times, events, and documents to be given to their target audience. At first I was very nervous. This was my first time working with a client. I hadn't actually done any client work throughout my entire educational history. But as I began to communicate and working through Pebble, I found it very easy to go back and forth and create the design that they wanted. Through that, I was able to schedule many video calls through Microsoft Teams, or allow me to talk face-to-face with my client and get good feedback and work well and efficiently. With Pebble, I was able to build up my communication skills working with clients. Through communicating with them, listening to them, and sending messages back and forth with them, I was able to create a website that they desired and wanted. I learned a lot from Pebble. I found it very enjoyable, and I found the whole experience how easy it was to use, to communicate back and forth, set schedules and times with my client in order to meet deadlines, and they work well. Thank you.
Obviously, it's given, well, Morgan can speak for himself, it's given him an opportunity here to do something that's not just working on something that's just draft and never gets into the public domain, that he's doing actually something that has an end product, that has a use. So I think for the students, it's really, really good because they know this is real. It's not something you're doing some wee assignment just for your tutor or whatever. This fitted up really well with us because we have limited resources to pay for something like this. All those skills that you need, interacting with people, negotiating, all the, as you say, the soft skills, life skills type stuff that you need when you're in the world of work. If you have a contract with somebody to deliver something, then you'll be experiencing the same things in this as you would be if you were if you were doing it in the real world. So, and you know what I mean by that, the world of work as opposed to being a student. So I think that's really, really good.
Collaborative projects, then courses on departments, helping students build teamwork, communication and problem-solving skills through structured cross-disciplinary work.
Greetings, my friend. We are all interested in the future, for that is where you and I are going to spend the rest of our lives. And now, for the first time, we are bringing to you the full story of what happened on that fateful day.
Wants to be different, always on the cuff. Can be another tombstone with aggression carried off. Wants to be special, I know that I'm not. I'm built like an apple embedded to rot. One needs to be needed, but nobody cares. It's brought to the table and the audience stares. And well, everything's changing, even my friends. But something has happened, cause history bends. I got my strings gone, goes for a retrospect. We've got big drugs, cause I'm a fucking wants to be listened, but you're never heard. Screaming like cattle till my voice bleeds words.
And standalone projects stay private to your course. Ideal for traineeships or internal briefs and can easily be converted into collaborative projects when you're ready to open them up. So basically, the two things that I think people need to know is how do industry register and create a project from the industry external side, and then what do educational providers see on the inside. Okay, so we'll look at this one first, industry. How do they register and create a project? So the brochure site is called www.usepebble.com, and here in the industry button we've got a register now, and that's the link, which is app.usepebble.com. Any person can use to enter through their browser. And like on the college's external facing website, soon they'll have a Pebble logo icon with a wee blurb if you want to say connect with Northwest Regional College. Click this link, and that's basically, they'll just go directly to this button link. Okay, so here's another short video, 2 minutes, to give you a wee bit of background for the industry facing side.
Welcome to Pebble, where our vibrant community of talented lecturers and their students can help your business shine. Whether you are an individual, a sole trader, a club or an organization, a charity, an SME or a larger corporation looking to bring your creative ideas to life, at Pebble, we're here to help. Our students can work on many different types of deliverables within the creative industries. Examples of some of these tangible outcomes are logo and brand design, digital and traditional advertising, web design, fine art, fashion and textiles, animation, video and music production, areas within dance and performing arts, and much, much more. Pebble connects you with the talent you need. Pebble is free to register, and you also have the choice to reward a student with gift vouchers only if the final work produced meets your standards. And it's really simple to use. After you register, just click on the Create Project button. Then follow our easy 3-step template to develop and refine your ideas. We'll match it with the most suitable courses in no time. From the initial concept to the final deliverables, your input will guide the direction. Share your expertise, offer constructive criticism, and watch the students refine their work based on your feedback. Benefits of using Pebble include access to fresh talent, innovation and creativity, community engagement, social value evidence, recruitment opportunities, diversity and inclusion, inspiring future talent. Stay tuned as we expand our offering to include outcomes from diverse subject areas such as construction, engineering, business, marketing, computing, and more in the near future. Help us bridge the gap between industry and education with Pebble.
So now, basically, you can watch that video at any point and go back and look at that brochure site. That gives you a lot more background information and more of the specifics of what I'll talk about today too. But this is basically what a lecturer would see here. So after we sign on, basically we access the portal page within the college, and there's a tile there with the Pebble logo on it. We have it built for SSO, single sign-on, so that means when a lecturer or a user logs onto their PC in the morning, they don't then have to re-put in a password to get into Pebble. It's part of a chain then, single sign-on. So once we log in, 4 main buttons are My Projects, the Notice Board, Data, Calendar here, but the Insights button is going to be released in about 2 weeks for staff. The only people who've got the Insights button at the minute would be the quality team and the project-based learning officer and the curriculums, faculty heads and stuff. So on the notice board, this is split down to show me just external type projects from outside, and then the internal collaborative projects across schools. So you've seen that example there of Hair and Beauty doing a collaborative project with creative media. We've been doing loads of these now in the last semester. The last one was last week. You had Fine Art doing like a Jackson Pollock painting on a huge wall. The graphic design students recorded it on time-lapse video. Then the digital design students, we could show you that video. It only lasts 60 seconds no after this. They then done a lot of post-production and effects to that video. That video then was taken over to the foil theatre, and then the music students, the performing arts students used it for a backdrop on an LED screen for a music video. And then the creative media department shot the video. So you had 7 different courses there in that one project, which it's just really exciting for the students. So at the moment, there's only 2 external projects. All the other ones have been taken by staff. So there was a list there of quite a bit. No, sorry, that's internal collaborative. If we look at external, this one came in 2-3 days ago. That's like a business startup called Karen's Needs. They're a massage therapy business looking to get a new brand and a website developed. And that's students here will do that. Typically, it's like a 6-week project or an 8-week project. There's a videographer, app design, website, social media. So all of these types of projects are sort of focused on my profile as a graphic design, digital design lecturer, and that's why I'm getting these project-specific types of opportunities to my notice board. Okay, I could select any, say for example, that looked interesting. I could look into it, read a bit more information, and if I thought, right, that suits my students this year, I've got one person who could do that. I'm interested in this project. That lets me now start putting a wee bit of guidelines on setting boundaries and expectations. So if the deadline looks good, happy days. It's for a few weeks' time, but so I'm going to say, no, can we discuss the deadline? It's too soon, doesn't fit with the academic calendar. The deliverables look good. Do you want film production, videography, social media management? I'm thinking, right, you could do maybe social media management and a bit of video production, but I'm going to sack the rest of them because I think that it's maybe too much for the time what's there and the students I can allocate to the project. So I go, can we discuss the deliverables? Select which course, and then that's where I write my feedback and just give a wee bit more information on this. When I hit submit, the external gets that email with that update information from myself. And it's not just me. A lecturer from any other college could be trying to pitch their course and their students to do this too. So if the external can change the deadline and they can accept that the deliverables can be reduced, they'll just add me to their project, and at that point it'll pop into my projects. Okay, So if you look at my projects now, I've got 15 active ones here at the moment, and they're anything from marketing campaigns, photo shoots, audio-visual projects, again, branding, new logo design, poster design, and there's some of these community projects as well that are really good. It's 26 and 26. That started a few weeks ago. It's a fireman from Dungiven. His sister died in the Foyle Hospice in her 40s, and now he's set up 26 events to do in 2026. That could be cycling, running, even the first events like a coffee morning. But this is to raise money for Foyle Hospice, Foyle Search and Rescue, and 2 other charities. So I have a full group of students now working on that. And it's just a really, really good project with a lot of details on it. You know, it's like oven ready for students to work on without me trying to develop it myself. So already, students are hitting the ground running, and I haven't had to do much at all. So my energy levels haven't been sort of depleted, and that's what happens in teaching. You end up just, your head gets frazzled because you feel like you're doing too much. And this guy's coming in, and he's basically meeting the students, and he's guiding it and giving them the feedback. We're using a lot of AI within this as well to speed things up. So we're using AI in a big way now within the subject area. Okay, so once we're in that project details, we've got the contacts. So there he is there. There's me, and there's my students. He doesn't see student names in his interface for safeguarding reasons. He just sees student 1, student 2, student 3, etc. Here's the attachments for the project. Here's the schedule. And I usually put 1 or 2 students in charge of this for a project. So again, it takes away managing the project and it reduces pressure on me again. So there's a timeline view. And that's basically it being developed in a light way up until the deadline. And each weekend it gets developed with minutes and other details, and students then can basically export this and use it for their academic grading purposes at the same time as this. And then they hit the evaluation at the end. So here's my projects, 15 active. I've got no awaiting match if I put some on the notice board. I've got 3 in the evaluation stage. This happened a week or 2. Paul, that's your place, isn't it? Northwest Academy of English. You're on mute, so you are.
No, that's not mine. I'm actually from Foyle International.
All right. So this was a project. It was like teachers from around the world were come to Cultureland, and that's what the project was there. And they needed digital media events, festivals, and traditional advertising, but then they didn't take that. They actually focused on front of house and students helping, take registration and point people where to go. So they ended up getting a Foyle side gift credit for £30 each for being at that for a few hours. Where typically the students will get online digital gift credits, so we don't have to worry about bank details or any of that stuff like. So then we get their data. That records all the types of projects per years, statuses and different levels of teaching, and that's per coordinator. If you move up the food chain, then you've got curriculum managers and you've got heads of faculty, but they all start getting all of these amalgamated metrics and insights. Okay, so that's how it's looking. I'll go on to the next slide here now. So some of the student benefits, to get the real practical experience that reinforces their academic studies, and they can develop practical T skills or meta skills. Apply knowledge in real world settlements, establish connections with professionals who can serve as mentors and advisors. You get for feedback, client interactions and critiques. Their career readiness confidence levels go way up. And we can actually measure educational gains from semester 1 to semester 2 with a delta mark or a heat map based on what evaluations were completed semester 1 and then on semester 2. And the lecturer instigates that. The external does the same one, and then each student do it as well. So there's getting a lot of data here. To get development of industry-ready portfolio showreels, then it's exciting for them. Like I said, it's my easiest year yet, and the students have more motivation, and their attitude and they're turning up to class is just perfect. And I've done less in the last 20 years, plus then they get GRIF credit. I've asked them about that for R&D purposes, and it's not even to give credit as the main reason they want to do it. It's more to develop their industry-ready show reels and portfolios, and they update their CV, and they actually feel that they can interact in industry. Because before they get these experiences, it's almost like a glass wall or something. They feel they have to be someone else and put on an act, but once they realise they can be themselves and just communicate and manage and listen and talk, their confidence levels just shoot way up. So here's my benefits as a lecturer. I can access these oven-ready projects. I facilitate the experience, the critiques, but I typically just sit off to the side. I say, listen, I'm not butting on here because I end up taking over. I let them work away and have the space and the time to talk and interact with the external. There's guest speaker opportunities would happen naturally as well. Like we did a job there 2 years ago with ITS Computing in Belfast, and they wanted us to do a UI user interface for an application to be used by the police. And they brought on their own head programmers during the call just to talk about contrast ratios and accessibility. And if you had to organise that and set that up, it would have become a big thing. You might have had to pay for it and all, but this just started was happened naturally. And then they went off. The other guy came back on after 10 minutes, and the students had another experience but it wasn't planned for. So we expand the professional networks, classroom engagement levels go up. There's the evidence of the knowledge gains. We get a direct channel to support staff. We'll show you that in a wee second. And then it streamlines inspections and support for SER. At the end of year reports were usually burnt out and you couldn't be bothered doing them, to be honest. But because this is recording this info as we go along, it's just a different type of workflow. We get to that point and it's sitting there ready for your reports. Benefits for business, access to fresh talent, innovation and creativity. There is some recruitment opportunities there too. I've had some students have been taken on, like one did a website for high top, what do you call them? There's a lady called Jennifer Neff, she's an entrepreneur in Derry, high top hub. And then she was had like a monthly set of hours to do for a wage for the last 8 months, which was nice while she's studying. And the work they're producing is going into portfolio work for the students' academic evidence to get graded on at the same time. So they're killing two birds with one stone. So it inspires future talent, and then we get the social value evidence from it too. So it's like a win-win. So we're going to start looking behind the interface now at the engine of this. So it started off me wanting to match students to get real experience, get them paid, an idealistic starting point. But as it developed over the last few years, it's turned into something a lot more deeper in ways. It's a centralized data platform for management, strategy, quality and inspection. This is more for the management of any kind of institution. So what happens is, once we get to the evaluation stage, it captures structured multi-stakeholder feedback that feeds directly into module and program level review. It provides measurable insight into transversal and meta skills, student development and project impact, produces data suitable for self-evaluation reports, curriculum enhancement and inspections, evidence, civic engagement, employability, impact, industry relevance. So data captured through Pebble's evaluations aligns with these QA quality principles, but that also satisfies many ETA matrix requirements, reducing duplication of reporting across all of these frameworks.
Pebble is a centralized data platform that streamlines project management and evaluations, reporting, career support, marketing and advertising, evidence for inspection, and strategic decision-making. Examples of Pebble data are transversal skills evaluations, comments and feedback, social value metrics, engagement metrics from industry and the community, and testimonials.
So, on the evaluation stage, we've really focused on what we're calling the Pebble Power Skills. This came about 3-4 years ago when AI started to take off. It's just a prediction from myself and the team, and we started researching it. That all of these roles in the industry are going to be lost, and they are being lost already. And every 6 months now, it's becoming more and more and more, and it's actually very, very scary. So AI is automating lots. It's actually, people in industries are losing their jobs, and there's courses still training students for those jobs. So the warden bodies, all of this education isn't agile enough nearly to keep up, to be honest, in my opinion. So what is future-proof here are the soft skills, power skills, and that's sometimes referred to as soft skills, essential skills, transferable skills, and the meta skills. They're all very, very similar. And if you were to take the verbs out of those like domains, you're talking listening, speaking, problem solving, creativity, attitude, and teamwork. That's some of them. So if you were to look at like lots of courses are being run, and you had a scale from like a dodo bird up to like a flamingo, and then up to like an alligator and a tortoise, like for evolution. The dodo bird is like graphic design, illustration, different lots. These types of careers where even like people are on phones and call centers, they're all being obliterated. And if you get right up to where the tortoise is, like the future proof, it's survived for evolution, you're talking any role that requires management of stakeholders and using these power skills. So you've got the likes within the creative industry, creative director, who could be managing the creative teams which are being reduced in size. The clients, for example, and then all the different departments. So it's these power skills what are going to become more important as time quickly goes on. Every other week now, something's happening with AI, and this is to actually try to future-proof what we do in education because of what AI is doing. So I've went and registered the trademark AI supported by AI, and that stands for Actual Intelligence supported by artificial intelligence, and that's our ethos of the engine behind what everybody sees as a really simple user interface. Okay, so once we start taking all of this data, we've got support staff now with dashboards throughout the college. So you've got industry and community out with the college, and now risk is being reduced by the formalising of that process of engaging with students and even staff. So you've got lecturers, students, the likes of the employer liaison officer, career support, are taking information from the soft skills. So they're able to map the strengths and the weaknesses of these soft skills down to an individual student. Going back, they look at the averages of a classroom. Going back, they look at the averages within all the courses within an area. And then going back, they look at all of the areas within a faculty and looking at these averages through the entire college of what the strongest soft skills are versus the weakest in order to offer bespoke workshops for. Okay, we've got marketing for recruitment. So DC or evaluation also captures testimonials and comments. Marketing have a dashboard where they can now look at a project, get the details, see who's involved, take the testimonials, take the outputs, and start recruiting for them courses without the staff having to try to go here. We've done this and we've done that. Could you put that on our socials? Because recruitment is a big issue too with numbers and classes. Curriculum managers can oversee all types of projects within their curriculum and get like a calendar of start dates, end dates, and just start managing resources and people more effectively. And then if you look at the wider data then, we've got the quality enhancement team, sustainability officer, competitions officer, equality, diversity, all of client services, heads of school. We've got dashboards with different data now being pumped to different stakeholders so they can benefit from it because we have it categorized within the type of project it is. So there were currently 16 categories in there. That's just a wee clip of one of the screens. Quality you can see from the amount of projects from startups to non-profits, education and e-learning, healthcare, art and design. So these are different types of projects, number of projects, okay? So here's a wee quick look at this dashboard I was talking to you about. So well, we've got the insights here. We didn't see it on my lecture review before. So this is older data. It isn't updated and it's changed since now, but we've got an overall score out of 5 at 4.18 with a total of only 32 evaluations. Like there's nearly over 100 there at the minute. Now we've got skills assessment between T skills and meta skills. And we can go into each one of these T skills and see what the average ratings are with the lecturer, with the external, and with students. So it averages it all out at the top level in the college at the moment. Plus the same with the meta skills. And straight away here you can see there's a weakness in cultural and environmental meta skill. And there's details now. They start going into that to see why. Here's all this project-specific outcomes between students in blue, institution in purple, and external in red. And these are like ratings for all the different outcomes that were produced. Video production, website design, advertising, etc. And the list can go down. Here's the breakdown then of the T skills overall. We can have a student's only view, the institution's only view, and the external's view as well. And that's broke down into intercultural collaboration, creative thinking, self-management, professionalism, and digital. And that's our 6 domains. And that came from a lot of research on UNESCO 2012 T-skills documentation, OCN type courses, and an amalgamation of with an industry panel adding to this to try to make these domains more relevant as to what the expectations are today in the workforce. Here's the meta skills breakdown. Okay, that's looking at cultural, emotional intelligence, futures thinking, well-being, entrepreneurial, and digital citizenship. Okay. Here we don't have the time to go into it too much, but there's evaluations per type. The recommendations rates, it's currently students of 93% would recommend using it. For other students, externals is 100%. And here I've got the feedback and I think the testimonials for each. So if I look at the external testimonials for each project, just let it load up there. Some of them is just given a sentence or two. Someone else is given nearly like a book. It's worth, but it's just really useful to see what they've wrote. Like the overall, this just gave us up how. I've got a video of that too now on the journal page on the brochure website. This lady from up by Moville used plaster Paris, took prints of dogs' paws and stuff and framed them for people. That was her business. So the students then done the brand, the logo, and the website, and populated it with images, etc. But I won't read all of that out. We'll get a shorter one on that. Sensory corner, that's an SEN, special educational needs, new startup based as a pop-up shop in the Richmond Centre, and they do gadgets and these wee sort of 3D prints for kids with special education needs. A positive experience of students who listened to feedback and applied the information given directly to project goals. And they worked with a group of 3 students, and 2 of the students had learning plans themselves, so they really sort of went to town on that project and created a banner, a logo design, and then their brochure website as well. So the institution feedback comments, student comments, and then that's like gold dust for data. So there's a student growth, strengths recognized, readiness, confidence, career clarity, assessment, academic assessment, skills demonstrated, CV, communication quality, employer confidence, soft skills observed, external readiness, and endorsement willingness. This is a chart broken down now just for quality reporting from the 12 QAA principles, and we're able to map to all of these as well. So that's a top level breakdown of what the externals have given each of these areas as the institution and the students, and you're looking at overall experience satisfaction, if the expectations were met or not, the development of relevant skills, the improvement of existing skills, application of key competencies, quality of the project deliverables produced, the quality of the partnership working. Then we go into implementing the approach. So we're looking at industry readiness, career readiness, confidence, the overall program recommendation, endorsement willingness, perceived learning growth, willingness to participate again, and willingness to recommend to others. Okay, so this is a version which has been updated since, but we've got a data analyst work with the data and seeing how best to label that data for the correct stakeholders who can benefit mostly from that data. Okay.
James, can I just ask something? As an ex-lecturer, I left NWRC in 2017. I've been there for 22 years at that stage. I think it's a fantastic, absolutely amazing tool. I just wish it had been there when I was teaching. And I can definitely see the potential for it. My role now is very different. I'm much more involved with industry, so I would be trying to sell it to employers as in why they should promote projects. And I definitely would be keen to work with you on that. Can you even just very briefly show us, do employers have a dashboard? Do they log on to it, or do they just contact you and or somebody and the project's put on there? Like how does it work from an industry perspective?
Right.
So you register your project?
That's it. I'll just go back to this point here. Hey, see at this point, industry, register and create a project. Basically, you can either go to the Pebble website, use pebble.com, and hit the industry button. See this register button?
Can you show us that you're not sharing?
It can't work. What'll happen there is it'll log me into my...
I made a note of that, and I can go and look at it if that's the case. Everything you show us there is from an education perspective, which as an ex-lecturer I can appreciate, big style.
You'll see everything there. What the reason why it'll log me into my lecturing account, because every user goes on through the same address, app.usepebble.com. It recognises at NWRC extension of my email, so it directs me to a lecturer's user interface. Where if you log in there now as just your own person, like GMX type email, it'll recognise you as someone from industry. So you'll have to onboard in a different way. You'll have to select what type of industry you are. You put in your details and a bit of all our information, and then you'll have the interface. It's very basic. It's just create new project, and then you create that project from a free step process, and then once you submit that, it'll automatically go on to the notice board for the lecture.
So from an industry point of view, the person in the company, they just put on at a high level what they want, and somebody within the college will take that and divide it up into...
I think it's probably good to show you quickly the process of it. And I mentioned there it's like, oh, go out of that. It's like a date. It's like a dating app. I'll just share my screen here again. Right, do you see this here?
Yeah.
Right, so college lecture, there's the title for Pebble. Click on it. And that automatically took me into my user interface. Your user interface from industry will just look the same. So see when I onboard and when you onboard, I have to update my profile here. So there's my name. I can add different courses that I teach on here. See these outcomes. That's the keywords would match your project to the type of course of study. So I've put in there, my students can tangibly produce these different outcomes like photography, graphic design, videography, video production. I don't have plumbing or wet trades or bricking or engineering in there because I don't teach that, but someone else might put that in. So for example, if I ended up teaching engineering, we see our bricklaying or something, I'll put in, there's brickwork, there's fabrication. So now my profile as a lecturer, what I teach is updated with, where is it, fabrication and brickwork. So as an external then, when you create your project, you'll put in the outcomes that you need, like fabrication or brickwork, and that's what matches the external end with the lecturer and internally in the college, just those keywords.
Okay.
So sometimes someone puts in too many of those outcomes. We call them deliverables as well, what the students have to deliver for the business. But then for the students themselves, their outcomes for their course, so those two terms are interchangeable and they can become a wee bit confusing. So what you're doing is you're putting in what deliverables you need delivered for you, where it's just keywords.
Okay.
Okay. I'll just close that.
No, James, I think it's absolutely fantastic. As you say, it's like a dating agency, and I wasn't aware of this at all. I was just, my colleague told me to go on here today, but basically what you're saying from an employer's point of view is basically if we have any projects or we need anything developed, that we can give these projects to the students and the students then use it as their portfolio. So it benefits, it's a 1-1 situation.
That's it. It's not complicated. Like the external, like yourself, the students get benefited, and the lecturer gets a benefited from the external committing they working with the students and giving them the critiques and the feedback. So the more critiques and feedback you can give the students, the better a project you're going to get, the more soft skills experience the students get, and then the less time the lecturer has to focus on the students too.
But this must be, it must be a question of timing as well, James, because at certain times of the year, so a project could take longer, so they need to be planned properly.
That's it.
Probably the start of the term is probably the best time to do that, no?
It's like August. I guess it's still really new and still be piloted in Northwest Regional College. We need more staff using it, then we need to get more colleges on board, because we haven't advertised it yet, because too many businesses come on looking for too many projects. There'll be a bottleneck, and not all of them can be picked up. So we're building a notification system too. If, say, for example, you put on a project, but it hasn't been picked up, you might just think, what was the point in that? So we have a notification every, few weeks later, you'll go, do you want to keep your project still on the notice boards? No, because students haven't picked it up yet. And then that'll turn to like 2 weeks, then down to 1 week. Then that can then go into your, is that still sharing your drafts? Can you still see the screen there?
Yeah.
So we've got this catch-22 where we can't have too many projects on it with too little amount of courses using it. But as we scale up the market, and we'll start to scale up then as well along with it.
Yeah.
Because there's no guarantees at this point. Sorry, do you want?
James, can I just ask, I would definitely see the potential, and from a GMX point of view, I have things that I could use as a project, and I could use it as a pilot, because if I've done it, then I can sell it to our companies, do you know what I mean? And I appreciate the teaching side of it in terms of your scheduling and that side of it, whereas companies won't engage with that, you know what I mean? They'll be like, oh, I need it done, and that's a different dynamic altogether. See the way you talked about the feedback and critique and stuff like that? Do you manage that, or is it up to the companies? Because again, that could be, I know just from a teaching point of view, that could be a wee bit troublesome. You know, if you have somebody on placement and they're on site with you and you need to talk to them, you can talk to them. Whereas obviously with students, that's a completely different dynamic.
At the moment, Pebble is only just Pebble projects. So that's projects-based learning on site within the college. So you've got external projects from outside coming in, but it happens in the college. The vision is for about a year's time. We've updated the T's and C's for post-16 education as well, for Pebble placements. We've got all the T's and C's done for it, but we haven't actually built the processes. But that'll be at least a year away. And what we've done is we're building artificial intelligence. So that it didn't show you the evaluation process, because it's a wee bit sort of, it's a wee bit too long-winded at this moment. But what happens there is, once the lecturer completes the evaluation, it automatically goes to the external, and then the external completes the same ratings. So it's all ratings bar 2 text fields for comments. So it's built for speed, and then all the students do it as well. So when I get the AI, supported by AI, into it, that'll then extract the information from the prompt, which is needed by the lecturer, or the curriculum manager, or the quality team for reporting. So we're going to really massively reduce the headache and the burden at the end of the year with that. I just thought this might be useful to show you. Businesses and companies don't even have to go through that link here and get on the notice board. Say, for example, you came to me and goes, James, can your students do this, or can they do that? And it's more informal. And I go, you know what? They probably could. I take your email address, and I go to invite to collaborate. I put your email address on. You get a notification to register for free, to create the project. Once you hit submit, that bypasses the notice board and goes onto my projects. So we're actually linked in straight away just from me inviting you. So that's the way we've been doing it mostly in the college at the moment, because of that there catch-22 of marketing it, and there not being enough students to work on projects. It's largely coming from the invite to collaborate side. So if you know people in engineering within the college, you can tell them just to go and invite to collaborate the person you know externally, and link them up directly, like that, without and bypass the notice board altogether.
The sort of work that I would think, and actually it's not even from the engineering companies, it would be from a GMX perspective. So if you even sent me an invite to collaborate, I would be more than happy to do this as a sort of pilot thing to promote it, because if I could say, look, from a GEMIX perspective, we've used this and we have been able to do A, B, and C, then I can sell that to the companies. Do you know what I'm saying? And it'll
Sure, I can talk to you more about that, sure,
be great.
after this call, like, you know. That's
From a teaching perspective, I'm not surprised that the other colleges all want to. I think it's fantastic.
we're focusing. There's like the internal collaborative between different students. There's the external version, and then there's one other version too called a standalone project, which means I don't want to engage with any other courses. I just want to log this to get data back from my students. And we're focusing that on the traineeships and apprenticeships and levels 2s and 3s. So it's like a fast track way for staff to get the project on Pebble, and then you've got the project-based learning officer, and Ed Smith has got her own dashboard, and it eliminates the paper trail. She doesn't have to go and look for this evidence now. That appears in her dashboard just like this right away. And the lecturers don't even have to invite the students into the project. They just get a magic link at the end and complete the evaluation. So there's fast-tracked way within this, you know, but that would take another demo, like.
No, that's really good. So if the industry has any ideas and needs done, like for example, I would need a lot of social media marketing, videos promoting the city, promoting the area, and then that's all part of our. So I could approach you for that, for example, and project for students.
That's it.
Even software development, for example, if we wanted a small app or a small software developed, is that still possible?
Yeah, of course, it's open up to. We just need to get more staff using it now from September onwards. So that could be an app development for our project. But basically, if the students in that cohort, every year the cohorts are different. You get people who are capable, people who aren't. So even if you went and got that done with through the experience, you'd get the research and development, but you mightn't get the end product finished to industry standards because there's a learning curve. But that's the expectations are set for externals using Pebble as well. Because sometimes if external comes in and thinks, oh, I'm going to get this thing, I'm going to get that, it mightn't happen depending on the cohort of students. And the whole thing about it is to take the pressure off teaching staff, no engaging with externals. So it just depends on the group of students, how many there are, and basically their level of quality of what you can produce. You know,
I'm going to. Can I just ask one last question? Whenever a project is put on, is it assigned to one student or is it a group thing? Or could there be several students doing individual versions of something that maybe the employer then or the industry could then look at?
We've created resources for 2 different types of projects workflow. The first one is the students who are more mature and you trust. You can assign 1-to-1 or a small group, maybe 2 or 3, but you can let them work away independently. For the younger students who you're more immature and less sort of like experienced and you don't really trust them. That's where the lecturer's anxiety levels go up, going, how am I supposed to put this class with an external? So the workflow there is the entire class get involved, and it's picture a triangle. Once the external is given the feedback at different stages, it's called a knockout process. So the students who haven't been listening or messing are knocked out of it. It turns into a soft brief for them. They have to keep working on it for academic reasons. And it's every year, if you have a class of students like that, you're guaranteed 1 or 2 is going to produce the work. So the students who were knocked out can always come back on board again if they listen and actually engage the way they should. So it's called the knockout process versus the 1-to-1.
No, that's good. And then I think from an employer perspective, the possibility of somebody demonstrating an understanding of a company and delivering something, there's long-term employment opportunities as well. So you're building a link with industry there that's, you know, is very, very good as well.
The students can use their comments on their CV, you know, the testimonials from the external and update their CV like that. So we're just focusing on the employer skills big time, while the students can get a real portfolio or showreel for their CV.